Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt, and I'm chairing today's panel. Joining me on the panel are Harvey Diamond and Bill Moratsky. Our secretary today is Louise Boilly, and our assessor is Jonathan Spacek. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the business assessment role in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act and the City of Winnipeg Charter. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing item number 1 on our docket today. Ms. Boilly, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Jonathan Spacek.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Sharples, please state your full name.
Grayson Sharples.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And Mr. Van Bruggen?
Yes.
Please state your full name.
Thank you, Wesley Van Bruggen.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin with our item on the docket today, are there any preliminary issues that we need to discuss?
None on my end.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Van Bruggen or Mr. Sharples?
Nothing from us, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Spacek, go ahead, please, on item number 1, file number 22-4705.
Thank you very much. We are looking at file number 22-4705. This is the 2023 business assessment for the location of 1283 St. James Street. This is a Chamois car wash. It is located just north of Wellington on St. James and south of the Costco there. We have a total annual rental value of $357,240, a total area of all premises at $16,517, with a total ARV of $21.63 a square foot. If you look at the middle of my first page, you'll see how that's broken down. So we have a base ARV of $315,970 based on the base rent of $19.13. And then based on the added occupancy costs for that full square footage, we add $41,293 for a total value of $357,240. Today I'm asking to confirm that, and what I've included in our brief today is on page 2 is the same comparables that were used for the realty hearing for this property. That was also confirmed. I've just included the order for the realty on page 3 and 4. And then on my page 2, you'll see, again, this is a unique property. We only have a couple of them in the city. It is just a full service car wash compared to some of our standalone car washes we have for comparables, and then some of our gas stations that have car washes as well. So we've included 3 standalone car washes. If you look, comparable number 3 is 1761 Pembina. This is a 1988 car wash. It's a standalone 6,480 square feet wand wash, and it's $9 a square foot. We have comparable number 5, which is 830 McLeod Avenue, and this is the Whale car wash. This is a larger standalone at 8,938 square feet, but again, this is just a pure wand wash, $10 a square foot, and is built in 1982. And then we have another standalone, which is comparable number 9, Northgate car wash, built 1967. So again, much older. The chamois was built early 2000s, and this is 3,360 square feet at $14.51. And you will notice comparables number 7 and 8. They are 1225 St. Mary's Road, 690 Sterling Line, but these are gas stations that have the car washes with them. So the rental rates of $26 and $31 respectively is what's paid for the retail section of the gas bar and the car wash square footage as well. So those are all in rental rates for those. And our subject property today is at 1913. So that's all the evidence I have today. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sharples, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Perhaps Mr. Van Bruggen does.
Okay.
Just in terms of the decision on page 3 and page 4, were you privy to this hearing when for the realty assessment on this?
Did I go to it? No, I was not there. It was a Svetlana, which is
Okay.
on which is on the order there.
Okay. have you reviewed the evidence that was submitted for the realty hearing?
Yes, I reviewed her evidence and
Okay.
what she included.
All right. And for the evidence, you would agree that there was an additional component when it came to land value supporting the assessment, not just the rents that were used?
Yeah, the value of $3,875,000 was based on the income approach, from my understanding.
But when in the evidence that was provided during the realty hearing, there was also a component of that was provided regarding the land value in that area. Is that correct?
From my understanding, yeah, this assessor always includes land values for her assessments.
So it wasn't just the board didn't just have the rent comparables in front of them that we see on page 2. There was additional evidence that was provided in the realty hearing as well when the board was making the decision. Is that a correct statement to make?
Yeah, I believe the land values were around $1 million when it was purchased bare, and then she provided evidence for that. And then as the income approach to value was for $3,875,000, which she combined rental rates for comparables, and then the income approach has nothing to do with the land value, from my understanding.
Okay. All right. I think that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Bruggen. Mr. Moretsky, do you have any questions?
So your rent comparables, none of these are a full service car wash. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, there's actually, from my understanding, none in the city. Like there's the 2 chamois, and there's not much else like it, and there's no net rents for this type of property. So we've included the next best thing.
Yeah, there's quite a wide range in rent area per square foot. You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. The standalone car washes are older, but they range from approximately $9 to $14 for those older, just drive-in wand washes with the bays. And then the other ones are gas stations, and 2 of those include. So I wouldn't even look at the gas stations. It's just we have a group of comparables because lots of the car washes are part of gas stations when we have our realty hearings. And then so really, I've just included what was included in the realty and tried to break it down for you.
What was the realty net rent?
Same as this.
No.
It was $9, and I'm respecting the rent that was decided at the board in the realty hearing, and it's the same as this. So that net rent of $9.13 is the same rent that was used at the realty hearing.
$9.13.
$19.13. Yeah, it's the base ARV per square foot in the middle of page 1. That's that rental rate. It's the same one that was used for the realty hearing.
Thought I heard you say $9.
Yeah, my bad.
That's all the questions I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Moretsky. Mr. Diamond, do you have any questions?
I don't have any further questions. Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And so, Mr. Spacek, you are pointing to I'm looking at your rent comparables, sorry about that, number 3, 5, and 9 as your best comparables, right? Because they're standalone.
Yeah, closest standalone, much older, just drive-in wand wash ones. But again, there's no real comparables that's similar to the chamois in the sense that it's, when you go into the chamois, it's the whole deal start to finish. You can buy things while you're waiting. It's kind of got that kiosk aspect of the gas station without the gas bar. So I don't think the other ones are too unreasonable to look at to give you an idea of what they go for. But again, it's, we're using the best we have in a situation with these odd buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, none of them are close in terms of size either.
Yeah, exactly. And year built too. The even early 2000s, all these are, 60s, 80s.
Yeah, and so the other chamois car wash in the city is also
owner occupied as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I have no additional questions. So, Mr. Sharples, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do have a rebuttal document as well. I don't know.
Okay, so let's deal with your direct evidence first, and then we'll go to your rebuttal document. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we'll begin on page 3 of our document. Just another brief description about the property. It's a 16,517 square foot standalone car wash. It was built in 2007 and sits on a 2.4 acre parcel of land. The assessed amount is $357,240. And the value we're requesting today is $280,789. Moving on to page 4, we just have a snippet of the business assessment here. And again, as mentioned earlier, the rental rate from this works out to be $9.13 per square foot.
Do you mean $19?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then, so we have no issues with any of the applied cost to occupy here. On page 5, we have our requested assessment here. So we'll be requesting a rental rate of $14.50 per square foot. And again, that brings us to a total value of $280,789. On page 6, we just have some overhead images of the property. And on page 7, just a few street view photos. On page 8, we have our valuation. So again, we're just looking at the rental rate here. In looking at these are all the lease comparables that were provided at the realty hearing, which happen to be the same that have been presented today. We've only looked at the standalone car wash properties, just looking at the names of the tenants, the PTC codes, and the photos of each property. We believe that these are more comparable than the properties that have a convenience store or a gas station component. So these 3 properties, as noted earlier, are 1761 Pembina Highway, which is the True Blue car wash, 830 McLeod, which is the Whale car wash, and 1361 McPhillips, which is the Northgate car wash. So in looking at the 3 of these, they've transacted at rates of $9 per square foot, $10.07 per square foot, and $14.51 per square foot, which gives us an average of $11.19 and a median of $10.07. So given this, and in looking at the ages of the property, the sizes of the property, we understand that the subject is a little bit newer and bigger, but we believe these 3 leases are the most comparable. And looking at them, this one for 1361 McPhillips, the 3rd one there, was signed in May 2017 at $14.51. Since that's the most recent one, we've decided to base our request off that. And that's how we arrived at the value of $14.50 per square foot. On the following page, page 9, we just have some photos of these 3 properties just to show that they are just car wash properties. There is no gas station component or convenience store. So at the top of the page there, we have 1761 Pembina. The bottom of the page is 830 McLeod. And then on the following page, we have 1361 McPhillips. And then again, just to conclude here on page 11, we have our requested value again. So we're requesting a rental rate of $14.50 per square foot. We have no issues with any of the costs to occupy. And as a result, our new requested business assessment value is $280,000 and $789. The following pages, we just have some supporting documentation. So we have the notice of hearing and then the snippet from the city package showing the rental comparables. So that concludes the presentation, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sharples. Mr. Spacek, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Diamond, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Sharples, I'm looking at page 10 of your photograph of the Northgate car wash, which you indicate is what you think is the best comparison to the Shabby. And I'm asking you if you truly can believe that there's any comparison at all, other than that they're both car washes, with the 2 properties.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, there's no perfect comparable to this car wash. We believe it's the closest one we have. Just in terms of, well, this was the rental rate was the most comparable. It was more in terms of size, or sorry, in terms of when the lease was signed. We believe that was the most relevant. If we were to look in terms of size or the year built, it would probably be 1761 Pembina would be the closest comparable. But yeah, what I meant to indicate there was that the other leases were signed in 2013 and 2015. So that this lease being signed in 2017 was the most recent and accurate representation of what the rental rate should be.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond. Mr. Moretsky, do you have any questions?
Well, the one on 1361 Phillips is 1451. And that's kind of what it is pretty much what you're asking for, right, on the subject?
Correct, yeah.
Base rent?
The most recent lease, yeah.
So if somebody is renting that car wash, which is quite a bit different, is not a full service for 1451. Do you think somebody will be able to rent a full service car wash for the same amount?
Potentially. I mean, just in looking at the average and median values, they were a bit lower as well at $11 and $10. So we just kind of based it on the upper range of those leases, and it was the most recent lease as well. So that's kind of just how we came to that conclusion.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moretsky. I have no additional questions. So, Mr. Sharples, you indicated that you have rebuttal evidence.
That is correct.
Okay, let's just give us a minute to get that.
It's in there, and if you refresh your drive, it should be there.
Okay, and Mr. Spacek, do you have it? Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Sharples, with your rebuttal evidence, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just beginning on page 2, what we've done is we've just showing photos of the other rent comparables to show that they do have gas station and convenience store components. So on page 2 is the first one here at 1091 Henderson. Again, this is Petro-Canada. They have the gas station there with the pumps, and I believe there's a convenience store kind of hidden behind the bushes in that photo on the bottom of the page. On page 3, we have 1070 Henderson. This is the Red River Co-op. So again, we can see it's a gas station and small convenience store. On page 4, we have the 7-Eleven at 406 Edison. So again, we can see that this is a 7-Eleven along with what appears to be a Petro-Canada gas station. On page 5 is 120 Keewatin. Again, this is a 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station. On page 10, we have 1225 St. Mary's. This, again, convenience store gas station. It appears there is a car wash on the side, but again, the rental rate applied to this, we believe, would be a blended rate because of the gas station and convenience store. Same thing on the following page with 690 Sterling Lion. You see that there's a gas station and convenience store on the site. Page 8 is 705 Osborne. Again, this is a Husky gas station and convenience store. And then finally on page 9 is 1567 Arlington, where we can see that again, this is a Husky gas station and convenience store. So that concludes the rebuttal document. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharples. Mr. Spacek, do you have questions on the rebuttal evidence?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Moratsky?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Diamond, do you have any questions on the rebuttal evidence?
I don't have any questions on the rebuttal evidence. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. So, Mr. Spacek, I just want to confirm you do not have any rebuttal evidence, or do
I
you?
have no rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Spacek, is there a desire for summation?
Not for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sharples, Mr. Van Bruggen, any desire for summation?
Not for me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I think, Madam Chair, the one consideration we need, and I agree, it's challenging when we don't have great comparables. And I think that's the situation we're facing today. However, what we have to try to determine is what is the most reasonable reflection of what the rent would be for that property. And when we look at all of the other leases that have been included within the city's lease analysis, we can see each one of those comes with a gas station, including pumps. Typically, gas stations are on land leases. So again, when we take a look at trying to determine what would be a reasonable rental rate, it would be M&P's position that the rents coming from those gas stations would not be reasonable comparables to look at when we're trying to determine for the chamois. So with that, M&P respectfully requests the board to reduce that rent to that $14.50 as requested, based on the market evidence that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Bruggen. Okay, well, with that, we've heard all the items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.
Thanks, you too.